I regret getting laser eye surgery about 5 years ago because it's resulted in chronic dry eyes at night, which makes sleeping more difficult, as well as starbursts, which make driving at night quite difficult. And also, I just kind of end up poking myself in the eye a lot. So here's what happened. Disclaimer, this is not medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I've worn glasses for most of my life and was very strongly nearsighted. Literally, I could see clearly only about 5 inches in front of my face. Here's my prescription, and here's how thick my glasses were. My vision was so bad that I was told I was not a candidate for laser eye surgery. But that's not actually true. I wasn't a candidate for LASIK, but I was able to get PRK. Long story short, with LASIK they cut a flap, and with PRK they don't. So the surface of your eye is made of epithelial cells. It's basically the skin of your eye. And if a laser is used to reshape that skin, it would just grow back. So these epithelial cells need to be moved out of the way so that a laser can reshape the cornea underneath, which will not grow back. With LASIK, a flap of epithelial cells is cut and folded aside. Then the laser reshapes the cornea underneath, and that flap is folded back into place. Apparently, no stitches are needed because it self-adheres. Recovery from LASIK is faster and less painful than PRK, but it does have more potential side effects. With PRK, there is no flap. Instead, those epithelial cells are dissolved away completely with alcohol, which sounds horrifying, but it's really not that bad. After the laser reshapes the cornea, a transparent contact bandage is placed on the eye, which allows for epithelial cells to regrow underneath. After about a week, the contacts are removed by a doctor. And after thoroughly researching both options, I strongly believe that PRK is just plain better. Everyone tries to make it sound like it's like an even choice between these two. There's pros and cons. No. PRK is just better. It's an older method, and generally speaking, the older a technology is, the more problems have been eliminated. PRK stands for photorefractive keratectomy. Because the entire cap of epithelial cells needs to regrow all at once, there's no inherent weakness. With LASIK, that cut on your eye will never fully heal. And if something happens, like you get punched in the face, that flap can come undone. Ugh. There are a lot of potential flap complications that you can Google for. I'm not gonna show you pictures here, but in general, there are just fewer potential side effects with PRK because there's no flap. I am absolutely willing to endure another week or two of discomfort if it means healthier eyes in the long run. So, after an initial consultation, I got PRK laser eye surgery on January 19, 2018 at London Eye Centre in New Westminster, BC. It cost $3,000 Canadian in total and came with a guarantee for a lifetime retreatment if necessary. I had both my eyes done, but if you want, you can do just one eye. PRK is not a single appointment kind of thing. I had the surgery on January 19 and had follow-up appointments scheduled for January 20, 22, 24, and then 6 weeks, 4 months, and 10 months later, which were all to make sure that my eyes were healing properly. For that first week, you need someone to drive you to and from your eye appointments, so I invited my mom to stay with me for about 2 weeks while I got the surgery done. She had LASIK done back in the 90s, I think, and hasn't had any problems with it, which is good. The actual surgery is quite fast. They do have to hold your eyes open with some sort of contraption, but they're constantly adding eye drops to your eyes so they don't dry out. You can even blink, and it still feels like a blink, even though it's not really a blink. I can't really explain it, but it works. They used some sort of cylinder placed directly on my eye and then put little drops of alcohol into it to dissolve away those epithelial cells. It didn't hurt at all because, painkillers. For both of my eyes, the laser was able to do its thing in less than 1 minute, which is amazing, actually. Technology! The bandage contacts were put in place and I was given some fancy painkillers to take home. I actually still have them. along with some instructions that I could not read, so my mom read them. We got, I don't know, I don't remember what these were all for, but I gotta throw these away. I don't need these. And then here's the instructions. I'll put these up on screen. I think there was some maximum number of eye drops that I was allowed to do per hour, and if I went over that, then I was allowed to use the pills of codeine. But it was explained not very well, and so I ended up never taking the pills, which I really should have because I was in a lot of pain. I'd say the first night was kind of comparable to having the flu. It is lucky that I had those pills though, because later I got an infected root canal, which is just as painful as it sounds, and I was popping those pills all the way to the dentist as fast as the bottle would let me. Anyway, I had an uneventful recovery from PRK, which is what you want. Also, I got pranked when I made it back into the office, which was pretty funny. You can watch that on Channel Superfun. This is also blurry. This is a prank! That's what it is. I also had purchased 2 bottles of these eye drops. These are more oily and longer lasting than most eye drops. I would often wake up with very dry eyes, so dry that it would hurt to open or move my eyes, and so I was putting these in at night all the time. I probably would wake up like 7 or more times every night to put these in. Around that time, I made this graphic showing the current state of my starbursts. A starburst is a visual phenomenon where a bright light will basically spread out unevenly beyond the edge of the object that is emitting that light. It was actually quite difficult to make this because the starbursts I was drawing would then have little starbursts of their own. So I had to like close one eye and squint and kind of rotate my head, and eventually I got it. And these images are as accurate as I could possibly make them. But I don't know if the starburst actually got larger at 4 months versus 2 months. I know that's what it shows on the image, but I didn't measure them. I should have like at least used my thumb to measure the starburst. You can do that. Notice how there's a bit of color on this one? Let's zoom in on that. This is called chromatic aberration, and I was very interested to see it through my own eyes. I'd only ever seen this along the edges of my glasses before. Fortunately, that went away quickly. And yeah, I've always been able to manually control where my eye focuses, so I was able to focus beyond the screen and see how the image kind of changed. The cursors would diverge when I did that, so I just wanted to show you that. It was quite interesting, not at all what I would have expected, you know, having all the extra little images of cursors, but that's what it looked like. As an aside, one of the reasons I make art is to share experiences with other people that they otherwise would never have had. So I'm really glad to be sharing this experience with all of you. Speaking of which, let's go to the next starburst image that I created. I borrowed a camera and got several shots of a Langley street at night. Then later I used Photoshop and added starbursts to them in a dark room. I kind of wanted to just bring a laptop out onto the street and just Photoshop there, but that would have been a bad idea. Notice how this large sign does not just have one giant scaled up starburst on it? That's not how it works, at least for me. All my starbursts essentially have a maximum size that they can reach, with brighter sources filling up more of that. A brighter source will also have a brighter starburst, but a physically larger source of light will just result in a starburst that is more spread out. You can see this very clearly when you compare all these stoplights. The further away one has thinner starbursts, and the closer you get, the more spread out it becomes. Anyway, at one of my follow-up appointments, I brought this image in and showed it to the doctor, and he said that it looked normal, which is good. Starbursts are most noticeable in high contrast situations. A dark street at night with headlights and streetlights is as bad as it can get. During the day, I can't really see the starbursts at all. And there's a similar optical phenomenon called diffraction spikes, which shows up in cameras and telescopes. In fact, to make my image, I actually had to remove some real diffraction spikes from that camera because they were too big and they were pointing in directions that my starbursts were not going. Anyway, my starbursts were pretty bad, but I was hopeful that over time they would get smaller as my eyes healed. Well, it's been 5 years, and here's what the starbursts look like in my left eye and in my right eye, which is definitely the worst one. So, my left eye starbursts have definitely gotten smaller, I did notice that, but the right eye starbursts seem to have gotten bigger. But I don't actually know for sure. What I should have done was hold up a measuring tape and measure the starbursts and write those numbers down. I didn't. What I can tell you is that if I do that today, the starbursts from my right eye are no larger than 5 centimeters tall, which looks approximately like this if I'm sitting here. 5 centimeters tall at arm's length, which is 72 centimeters, which is 3.8 degrees across. So here's my right eye at 6 months and 5 years. It does kind of look worse on the image, but it's very hard to know if a direct comparison is even fair. And subjectively, I can tell you that it's not as bad as it used to be. I don't know if that's because they're actually dimmer or my brain has just gotten more used to them, but that's where we're at. Also, here's what a cursor looks like now at 5 years. This image is also a little bit misleading though, because I really should have done another image at 6 months or 8 months, and if I had, then you would notice that these extra images of cursors were almost completely gone by that time. So those have not been a problem for quite a while. And yeah, I have released all of these images into the public domain. I want anyone to feel free to use them and share them however they please. So all of that is linked to in the description below. Anyway, while night driving, it's actually helpful if there's someone behind me with their headlights shining right into my car, because it shines off of the rear view mirror, which I do not flip to the dark mode on purpose, because what that does is the extra light shining in my eyes makes my pupils get smaller, and as a result, all the starbursts also get smaller. And then it's actually easier to see. This is so useful that I've actually considered putting a small flashlight on my dashboard and aiming it at my face so that all the starbursts get smaller and I can see better. Another thing that I do while driving at night is to squint and tilt my head upwards. What this does is it eliminates almost all of the starbursts except for one that shoots right off the top of every bright object. That's a lot easier to ignore and look through than having them going off in every direction. So I do that a lot. One more detail here, it's actually not entirely fair to show the left eye and right eye starbursts by themselves, because when you have just one eye open, the pupil gets larger, at least it does for me, so the starbursts also get larger. So when I have both eyes open, the left and right eye starbursts will both get smaller, so it's actually easier to see with 2 eyes. They say that you get used to starbursts, and I would always roll my eyes at that, but it is actually true. I think that because the left and right eye starbursts are on different places, that when my brain combines both images together, it kind of is able to see through them. For the most part, they don't really bother me anymore, except while driving at night and watching movies, which are both, kind of important. Oh, and they're also pretty annoying when trying to do color correction. Yeah. You need a calibrated screen to do color correction, but you also need calibrated eyes. The starbursts are bad, but the dry eyes at night are actually worse. Sometimes I'd open my eyes in the morning and experience a shock of pain as presumably my eye and eyelid had fused together overnight, and I had just kind of ripped them apart. And then that spot on my eye would hurt for the next day or 2 or 3 as it slowly healed from whatever damage I had done. No amount of eye drops could solve this problem. I was waking up, I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 10 times every single night, and I would put in eye drops, go back to sleep, and sometimes just 30 minutes later, I'd wake up and have to put in more eye drops. It was really annoying. To be clear, I wasn't setting alarms, I was waking up naturally because of the pain or discomfort. This was crazy. So finally, I called London Eye Centre and I asked to speak to a doctor. The receptionist said that I had already had all my follow-up appointments, and so I should just go talk to my regular eye doctor. Like, she clearly didn't want to book an appointment for me, but this was a problem that their surgery created. So I hit her with, "You guys said that I have lifetime retreatment, right? So how do I know if I need a retreatment if I can't make an appointment?" So she booked the appointment. And it was during that appointment that I learned about this stuff. Muro 128. This stuff is not cheap. It's like $20 for this, but it has been my saving grace. It is only because of this weird goo that I am able to have a full, uninterrupted night of sleep. And I have to put it in every night. This stuff will stay in my eyes for a good 8 hours, keeping them moist while I sleep. It's mostly gone by the time I wake up. I don't know where it goes, but it's made a huge difference. And I think it's allowed my eyes to heal a little bit more. I have had the occasional night where I forget to put it in, and my eyes did not dry out as much as they used to. Hello, I'm going to demonstrate how I put this stuff in my eyes, so if you don't want to look at close-ups of eyeballs, I forgive you. You can forward to this timestamp. So the doctor said to do, he called it a fingernail's worth. This is actually a little bit more than you need. It reminds me of applying contacts, but what you need to do is like make sure that it gets in the bottom of your eyelid. See, and I missed oh, I totally screwed it up. See, it's so easy to get it wrong. Just try to do that. Get it under the eyelid and then move my eye around. Okay, now it's in and everything is very hazy. And then I go and do this on another finger in the other eye, and that's how it's done. Sorry about that. I don't know if you wanted to see that or not. And then I can close my eyes and go to sleep. Or can I? Because here's the thing. If I put it in too soon, my eyes will water like they are right now and flush it out. And it's like, what the heck? I put that stuff in because my eyes weren't making enough tears, and then they go and make a bunch of tears to wash it away? What? Make up your mind! And I have sometimes had to reapply that stuff because too much of it got washed away. Which is why I usually wait to apply it until after I'm already quite sleepy. Even with the Muro 128, I still sometimes wake up because of dry eyes. And when that happens, I'll just put in drops of this stuff. And I think it kind of works to reactivate whatever of the Muro 128 is still in there. And it lasts longer than just the eye drops by itself. So these days, I never really wake up because of dry eyes more than like 2 times a night. And usually it's 1 or none. And also, I never have pain anymore from opening my eyes, where with just the eye drops, that would happen all the time. One of these tubes lasts for maybe 3 or 4 months. So, it's been 5 years since I've had laser eye surgery, and I've been using Muro 128 on my eyes for like 4 years. I was hoping that the dry eye problem would have gone away by now, but it has not. And it's possible that it never will. And I was hoping that the starbursts would be a lot smaller by now. Oh, and also, I'm still not used to not having glasses on my face. So, like, I never learned how to be careful around my eyes. So I will sometimes accidentally poke myself in the eye with whatever I'm holding, which is really annoying, but at least my wife finds it funny. Oh, and here is one small thing that I miss. I basically used to have like magnifying glass vision because I could see very clearly 5 inches in front of my face. So I could read the piece numbers off of even the smallest of Lego and figure out, yeah, I can't read it. Figure out what piece it was, then you can look it up on Bricklink or whatever. Oh, and also now I need to wear goggles while biking in snow or rain because the glasses aren't there anymore to stop all the, raindrops from hitting my eyes. Especially on an electric bike, and I like to go fast. It is a bit embarrassing, but one of my reasons for getting laser eye surgery was that I wanted to look more attractive. Whoa, okay. I can't read the teleprompter anymore. My eyes, my glasses make my eyes look smaller and more beady and oh geez. It was so bad. I've heard it from more than one woman that I look more attractive without glasses, so, I did end up getting married, so maybe it worked, Here was my profile picture on Hinge, but I could have just worn contacts for the same result. So, would I recommend laser eye surgery? No. No. Especially if your eyes are important to your job, like if you're a pilot or a trucker or a colorist. It's just not worth a lifetime of starbursts and dry eyes. Potentially, Most people don't have these problems, but it's enough where I think it's too big of a risk to take. Overall, it's just been more annoying and a lot more expensive than just wearing glasses or contacts. Oh, side note, your eyes are more sensitive after laser eye surgery, so I got these pinhole glasses, which really helped a lot. Yvonne tried them, she said they gave her a headache. I actually blocked out more than half of the pinholes to get even less light in there. Yeah, these worked great. There's like all this crap online that says, oh, pinhole glasses will make your eyesight better permanently. That's not true, that doesn't make any sense. But these were great, I liked these. If you choose to get laser eye surgery, I definitely recommend PRK and not LASIK. Also, London Eye Center is a perfectly fine choice. Despite the side effects that I experienced, I knew the risks going in, and all things considered, I think they did a great job. So, I joined Nebula, and you can already watch my next video, a review of the Rad City 5 electric bike on Nebula right now. And they're sponsoring this video. Nebula is an ad-free subscription streaming site for early access and exclusive videos from your favorite creators. And oh look, it's Legal Eagle, one of my video editing clients, with a great series called How to Sue Like a Lawyer that's only on Nebula, along with lots of other classes from all your favorite creators. They don't have to be your favorite. We all know I'm your favorite, right? And there's lots more exclusive stuff on Nebula. I encourage you to peruse their library and see if anything stands out. Nebula is a lot more than just video. I'm actually going to go off script here and tell you the things that I like about it. The most useful thing is that Nebula can help me get sponsors for my videos. This is a whole thing that I just don't like dealing with. I don't want to have to vet companies and figure out how much to charge. I never wanted to become a businessman. I just want to make cool videos. Do you have any idea how much spam I receive from crappy sponsors trying to push scammy crypto coins or gray market keys, or they want to build me my own app? What would that even be? So with Nebula dealing with all of that for me and doing so in a transparent way where I can see the money involved and the conversions and all the data, that's just a huge load off my shoulders, and I can focus on making better videos. But remember, in the Nebula versions of my videos, there are no ads at all. And also, there was a sync problem with this one. It was off by 3 frames, so I fixed it. So this version is actually the better one overall. Nebula also offers production services. Video editing is among them, and I have the opportunity to use these services for my own videos. Or I can participate by editing videos for other creators on the platform. Now, I may or may not actually do this. I've already turned down far more video editing work than I've taken on, but it's fantastic that the option is there. I don't know if I've told you guys this yet, but ever since quitting my old job, I need to have video editing clients, not just to make money, but so that I have something to learn from. If I don't, then my skills will just stagnate. I can't just make video editing tutorials about editing video editing tutorials, now can I? Although I did do that once as a joke. Also, I now have access to a group messaging service with all the other creators on the platform, which is enormously helpful because now I can discuss art, business, equipment, workflow, and lots more with all the other creators on Nebula who have been doing this a lot longer than I have. I'm getting some serious imposter syndrome, but I have already given and received lots of useful advice. For example, Matthew Kroll from Extra Credits posted about this really annoying problem with some applications having yellow tinted windows, which is a problem that I encountered and made a video about 3 years ago. So I told him the solution, and it worked. To be clear, you can't sign up for any of that stuff. Nebula is not soliciting new creators. So what is in it for you? Let's talk Nebula exclusives. I had to cut a few things out of my frame rate video for the sake of time, but they're still interesting, so I'm going to put all of that into a Nebula exclusive video, basically deleted scenes. Also, I will probably put together a vlog of my wedding in Antarctica, so keep an eye out for those on Nebula. And I want you to sign up for Nebula using my link. With my 40% discount, it's $250 per month, which is $30 per year. And when you sign up with my link, it supports me directly. And look, there's that Rad City electric bike video that I mentioned before. It's not on YouTube yet, so thank you very much for watching all the way to the end. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that nonsense, and I'll see you next time.